we are going to do more fact checking, and we're going to use a current topic, Dr. Fauci. He is seen as the most trustworthy person during the coronavirus epidemic. So we are going to look at a variety of sources and know how to determine if they're good or not. I did a basic search just for the doctor here. And I noticed there's a lot of things on different sports channels talking about him telling us that we could probably have sports without fans. We have CBS, we have USA Today. And then we have through the NIH, that's the National Institute of Health. And this is actually something about something he's done with them. Again, we have USA Today, LA Times, National Review. So there's a variety of different things here. Wikipedia, Wall Street Journal. So we're going to look at some of those things I found in these searches. So the first thing I'm going to look at is we have here the National Review. So here's a National Review. Now, again, we want to look to see what the source is. So if we go to Media Bias Fact Check, we can look at their assessment of this news outlet. And they say that it is a right-biased, mostly factual. Now, you really want high, very high factual reporting. It gives us the background of the publication as well. So we're going to look at that article knowing that it is a conservative, right-biased publication. This author, this is an opinion piece where he's talking about two congressmen, Andy Biggs and Ken Buck, and how they had said that Dr. Fauci was callous for saying that it was no big deal that we had this fatalities and people being out of work. So if you read through the article, they are very hard on the people criticizing Dr. Fauci. But did he even really say something? This article discusses that, but you don't want to just one source, so we're going to go look at other sources as well. So I'm looking at Snopes. So this, actually for this search, I did a Dr. Fauci downplay, and this came up in the search results. Snopes is a source that fact checks other people. Now, if we go to our Media Bias Fact Check site and search, they will also tell us if this is a good source or not. It's a little slow, but we'll get there. So we click on the title, and they're telling us that they are the least biased. They're pretty close to center, and their factual reporting is high. Again, you can look to see information about that source on this site. So what do they say about this particular claim? The claim was that he had said there was nothing to worry about in February 2020. So it goes through and talks about what was actually factual about that statement, that he did in February say that we might not have to change our behavior just yet. But then he also went on to say that things changed rapidly. So I think on that date, February 29th, I think there was maybe one death at that point and about 70 people sick or something like that. So that is taken out of context, obviously. So there's also information about him being threatened in the media. So I did a search for, is he being threatened by people? And I went to Reuters. So let's go back. I selected the most trustworthy. Let me look at the spelling. R-E-I. Or R-E-U-T. Reuters. Okay, here we go. Spelling is very important. So we look at what Media Bias Fact Check says about this site. And now that I'm using this all the time, I know that Reuters is one of the best. So Reuters and AP, which is Associated Press, are the two best sources you can look at. Least bias, very high factual reporting. So this is the site you want to use, which is why I chose this site to look at. And basically, Dr. Fauci has said that people have threatened him, but he feels, confident and safe at this time. So some of those sources that I could have looked at aren't necessarily bad. We have the Boston Globe, USA Today, New York Times. Again, you're just going to go to that site or other sites like it and find resources on fact-checking sites. So these are all news outlets. I'd pick this one here. You might also want to check the credentials. So I just typed in his name and then credentials, and I have a search here. The top search is through the NIH, the National Institute of Health. Those are good sites. And if you click on these, it's going to give you a background of him. You can look at his awards, his publications are a great place to go. So it's going to tell you that he has worked in public health for decades. And this is not his first pandemic to help us through. This is one of the sources that I originally had found that was talking about was he downplaying the virus? So this is a person on iHeartRadio. It's a person that does a radio broadcast. Now you have to think about, well, what are they trying to do? What is his purpose? So Reuters, AP News, they want to publish good quality news. That's why they're very high factual reporting. Dan O'Donnell is the person that wants you to listen to his radio show. He's going to say inflammatory things, maybe controversial things, because he wants you to tune in every week. So he talks about this. If you look at sometimes the URL, this one, News Talk 113. I mean, it's a very long URL. Most really reputable places are going to have, apnews.com, Reuters.com. They're going to have that basic domain. But because this is through a station on iHeartRadio, it's very long. But again, it's a person that wants you to read them. I would look up, who are they? So I did look up the radio station here. And I'm using Wikipedia. That's a fine place to go. All the things that are highlighted, you can click on. These are footnotes. You can go to the bottom. Often in here, somewhere before references, it'll have, controversial things. If there's something maybe a little bit off about the person or the entity. If we look at this, it talks about who it's owned by, is the home of a local afternoon person who occasionally substitutes for Rush Limbaugh. You would maybe look up, who's Rush Limbaugh, and find that he's not really a reputable source. So you can see how things are tied together. If you want more information, what you can do is you can go to the Iowa Lakes subject guides. These are in the Canvas courses, or you can go to the college website and click on library. You'll find them under subject guides. The one that you're going to want to go to is called information literacy here. So if we go to this site, there's a lot of different resources. You're going to look at media bias in particular. And here's another chart that talks about the most reputable places and the ones that you really don't want to, the ones at the bottom. And then at the bottom of the page, there are other fact-checking sites. So when you're looking at these information pieces, you really want to see, are they a good source? Why are they writing it? What is their goal? If their goal is to make money off of sales of ads, they're going to be inflammatory. They use things called clickbait, where they try to get you to click on their links. You want to avoid those. You want to have the news outlets that are there to make sure that the world has the facts of any situation. And in this case, Dr. Fauci is a leading expert, and what he says is trustworthy, and you can research all that for yourself. If you have any questions, let me know.